How you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I talked about the Eternals in the Marvel Vault, but I never actually showcased the Eternals comic. So I took number 3 because I remember this has a lot of the cosmic stuff. It's kind of done with the introductions of the first 2 issues and gets more into the meat of the comic. So I thought this would be more of a fun comic. At least that's what I kind of remember. But a little 30 cents, issue 3. I was looking for it, but this is a Jack Kirby cover. Now remember, Jack Kirby had left Marvel to go to DC, and he did the New Gods, which was like a science fiction biblical stories. And the cool thing about the New Gods is it had a definitive end. It was more like a manga in that aspect, that it had a beginning, middle, and end. But unfortunately, it got canceled before he could finish the story. So little disheartened, Jack came back to Marvel, and he promptly created the Eternals, which is a more mythological sci-fi version of superheroics or whatever. And this also got canceled before. He didn't have a definitive end. This was like an ongoing series as far as I know, but it got canceled due to low sales. So he, again, never got to finish the stories that he wanted to tell with the Eternals. Roy Thomas finished up some of the Eternal stuff that culminated in Thor 300 and 301, I think was the finishing. But Jack Kirby never got to finish the stories. That's the way it is with serialized comic books. Okay, so this is when gods walk the earth, devil in the skies. This is Icarus. Okay, and I forget her name. She's his human love interest, or at least she's the newbie that learning all the information. It's just a good storytelling technique. Prizes are cash. Okay, this is the Eternals 1976. Look, still dirty fingers. I scrub and oil and grime won't get out. So in this magazine, the hidden chapters of the history of the man are quickly being revealed. Untouched for 1,000 years, a large crypt in an Inca ruin has discharged a living flight crew for a spacecraft that appeared, and this is their century to serve the devil in New York. Okay, so originated, written by Jack Kirby, inked by J. Verpoorten. There's a picture of him in the Marvel Vault. The guy was supposed to be like a gigantic human being. Lettered by John Consta. This name should be kind of familiar to. Colored by Glynis Wynn. A consulting editor, Archie Goodwin. Okay. Again, this is old school coloring process. You could tell there's no gradations. Just green background. So here we go. This is the splash page. This is Ajax. Ajax is supposed to be the warrior of the Iliad, and he has taken an interest in Mesoamerica. He's been living with the Incas and Aztec for 1,000 years or so, and he is going to be played by Salma Hayek in the movie. And as you can see, the resemblance is striking. A Greek hero looks exactly like Salma Hayek. This is Icarus. He is the main character of the Eternals, and he is going to be played by I think the guy who played Rob Stark, and these are the human archaeologists that are working with him. This comic was very influenced by the ancient astronauts. Jack Kirby just loved all that mythological stuff. So I got a pan out for this. So here we have Arashim. Arashim is the one above all. He's a celestial, and you see his thumb is up. And he comes to Earth to judge humanity. What the Eternals do is they are like gigantic. They look like robots, but it's just like alien beings in this armor, and their power is immeasurable. And they roam the universe, and they test native life forms, and they split them into 3 groups, and they're good scientists. So one is the control group, unaltered. That's normal humanity. One they give like all of these super abilities, they become the Eternals, and one they give like cool abilities, but like genetic mutation and unstability, those become the deviants. And the Eternals become like the basis for all the mythological gods and heroes that and things like that. And the deviants become the basis for all the monsters and devils and demons. So here they are, just admiring the majesty of Arashim. Ajak is just awed by the splendor of this godlike, angelic. This, in the Old Testament, the angels weren't described as little, naked, little, cute little babies. They were like these gigantic, undescribable things, and that's more of what Jack Kirby was approaching. So the Celestials were given like angelic names. Spider-Man action water glove. So it's a water pistol glove. That's kind of cool. Retired before 50. This is what a 50-year-old man looked like back in 1976. Ready for the grave. Okay, so classic 6 panels. A lot of dialogue. So here's Ajax, that's played by Salma Hayek in the movie. Just talking about he has like a devotion to the Celestials. Ajax, I think, Icarus has like a little questioning what's going on, and he's explaining to these 2 humans. They're like, we never understood this. 5 panels of me. I love the 5 panels. You could always take one panel, make it bigger, smaller. It's just a cool way. So Arashim is on this like pillar. He doesn't even touch the earth. That's just how majestic he is, or it is, or whatever it is. More ads, more grit, and he puts the girl to sleep because she's getting hysterical. Women can't handle this stuff, freaking out. So he puts her to sleep, and he's flying the ship. Every Eternal could fly. Every Eternal is super strong. Every Eternal could harness laser energy. Icarus, he is the best at flight. I think every Eternal has like a specialty. So here we're looking at some deviants. A nice splash page over here. This is Warlord Crow. So this is Emperor Toad, if I remember correctly. He is the leader of the Lemurian deviants. And there's the Toady I told you that was a Jack Kirby thing. He always had somebody like, yes, master, I will serve you. And Warlord Crow is more intelligent, more resourceful, and more ambitious than Toad. Toad is more of like a degenerate, just wants to live his life of leisure, and he's just like always challenging him. So here he is getting beat. And Warlord Crow, he can control his body to a certain extent. He has like horns and a tail, and he is supposedly the inspiration for Satan. Keep in mind, at this point in Eternals history, Jack Kirby had no intentions of incorporating it into the Marvel Universe properly. So this was the devil. The Eternals were the Greek gods, and they were the inspiration for heroes. Now when they incorporated it, it became a little bit more of a problem. Like, how do you explain Zuros and Zeus? Zuros was named after Zeus or whatever, things like that. I don't know exactly how they rectified it. This was cool. This was a band that made Marvel superhero-inspired songs. The biggest rock event of the decade. I'd never heard this. I bet you they have it on YouTube. I should look it up. Blacklight Posters. This is 1976. Blacklight Posters. Dude. So here he is, begging his forgiveness to Emperor Toad. And, he's playing with them because, he's more cruel. He's, what is that called? Kowtowing. You can see his horns are starting to grow. Icarus flying through the mountains. This is the hidden city. It belongs to a new mystery for the world. So he's going to a hidden city of the Eternals. Remember, that's a Jack Kirby thing. The hidden technologically advanced city. He did it with Wakanda. He did it with Asgard. He did it with the Eternals. He did it with the new gods. I know there's more. And then the other people came and copied it with Kunlun and Iron Fist and Shambhala. And even Doctor Strange went to the hidden monastery in Tibet that was magically more advanced. And, that's just such a comic book trope. Here he is. He's shedding his costumes, classic blue and red with a little bit of gold, Superman colors. And The defenses are going after him. We've seen this ad millions of times. Here we are, the letters page, the eternal utterings. And first letter from Ralph Macchio, who later becomes a professional in the comic book industry. So that's why I like checking out these letter pages. Sometimes they're fun. Okay, this is Bill. He's nobody famous. So okay, but this is pretty cool. I love that. I didn't know that a pro wrote a letter. I had a few letters published. I wasn't a letter hack by any means. You know, a letter hack is somebody who kind of got like pseudo famous in the comic book world for getting lots of letters published. I had a few fan letters. Some of them were embarrassingly gushing when I was a little kid, and I got one that criticized the main character in Strangers in Paradise, and they kind of dogpiled me because what do I know? So he comes back. He's one of the things they kind of do is they like close their eyes and regenerate their abilities. So I'm not getting into this story. As you can see, there's a lot going on. So look how much dialogue. Look how dense it is. Look how many panels. Every panel is filled to the brim with artwork. Up here, down here, Jack Kirby was amazing. His rage is showing, so his horns are growing out of space. Look, 5 panels, just so much. And then we got another ad, 10% off. Going to Manhattan because everything happens in Manhattan. He uses his ability to disguise himself. His mental abilities to scan the room. You know, the Eternals have like whatever powers necessary. And this is Circe. Circe, she has the standard Eternal powers, you know, flight, super strength, super invulnerability, and mental abilities. But her real specialty is matter transformation. So she could transfer, and she is the Circe of the Odyssey. If you remember, Odysseus and his crew landed on her island, and she turned all the crewmen into pigs, and then she seduced Odysseus and tried to keep him there. I think he stayed there for 10 years on the island until finally he broke her spell, got his men returned, and more adventures for Odysseus. So true to that myth, she's very flirty, very seductressy, and she could control matter. She's super powerful. So she kind of is mischievous at this point, and then later on she joins the Avengers, and actually I think she leads the Avengers for a little while. I don't know who's playing her in the movie. I saw the woman that's playing her. She kind of looks like her. When I heard that Angelina Jolie was going to be in the Eternals, I was like, oh, she's perfect for Circe. And Angelina Jolie is playing Thena, which I think is Icarus's older sister, and she actually looks surprisingly like Thena. Thena is, of course, Athena, daughter of Zeus, or Zurus in the comics, and she takes over the Eternals when Zurus either retires or dies. I forget what happened. So he's talking to Circe. He needs her power. She is as flirtatious and mischievous as she is. She's really super powerful. So Icarus needs her help. And here is Warlord Crow with full-on Satan. Look at that. Full-on Satan going out and causing death and destruction. And Icarus is going out and fighting. So if this was set in the Marvel Universe, the regular Marvel, you'd have the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the Defenders going out and meeting Warlord Crow. But they don't exist yet. And so the Eternals got to go in and stop. So that's what the Eternals have been doing, is like having like a clandestine protecting of the earth from the machinations of the deviants, and then whatever we know through normal humanity is like stuff that got, like, Harry Potter in the Wizarding World. Sometimes magic words like abracadabra or gobbledygook became regular parlance. So the stories of Icarus and Athena and stuff like that, they came into a regular world, and we treat them as old myths. But for the most part, they keep everything hidden in a way because humanity is the control group. I just love that concept. It's kind of elegant. If humanity was to learn about this, then the Celestials' experiment would fail, and then Arishem would put his thumb down and destroy life on Earth and start all over again. That's what they're doing. So they're preparing for the coming of the third host. The first host came and visited the earth, created life. The second host came and judged a problem and made the great flood of the Bible, and wiped everything and started over again. The third host is coming back to do that again. Do they destroy humanity? And that is the dilemma of the Eternals. Do we fight the third host if they say destroy humanity, or do we accept that they are the masters and help them destroy humanity? I guess they would get destroyed with them. I didn't even think about that until just now. So that's the dilemma of the Eternals. Some of them want to rebel against these Celestials. Some of them are loyal because that's their purpose. But alas, Jack Kirby never finished it. I think there's a new Eternals coming out now. That would make 5. But I have 4 complete Eternals series. This one, and then the follow-up one by Peter Gillis, and that one, it blends in Jack Kirby's Eternals into a Marvel's Eternals. And then there was Neil Gaiman's Eternals, with the dreaming Celestial who's still on the Earth dreaming, and that was pretty good. A lot of I just remember one Celestial just came out and landed in the water in the San Francisco Bay and just stands there. And I don't know if they ever acknowledge that again, but there's this like 2,000 foot tall space alien just standing by San Francisco. And now I think they're saying that the Eternals are kind of like, they have no free will. They will do the bidding of the Celestials. And there's a new series coming out. I know nothing about it. So there you go. I have nothing but fondness for the Eternals. I can see if some people wouldn't like it, but I think you get this series, the first Eternal series, all 19 issues plus the one annual, so that would be 20 issues. I think in an omnibus, a collection of the entire what is wrong with my brain? A collection of the entire series, and it's worth it. It's fun. A lot of wonderful hokiness, some real imaginative storytelling, wonderful art. Whether you like the concept or not, if you don't like Jack Kirby's artwork, then I don't know. It is, to me, the standard for Western American style comic books. I could see if you are a manga fan, you would maybe have a different sensibility. So I could see if different if that's your introduction to comics. This was my introduction to comics, so of course I'm a fan of this. I was only introduced into manga. Here's I'm going off track. I was introduced to manga with like Lone Wolf and Cub and My the Psychic Girl when they brought that to America. So that I was a well-established comic book reader before I even got interested in manga. But there you go. The Eternals. I know I went off the rails there a little bit. Forgive me. Okay. Thanks a lot for checking out my video. I appreciate your time that you give me. Some of you guys, I could see that on the analytics. Some of you guys watch every day. I appreciate that. Let me know in the comments if there's any comics that you're looking for. I'm sure I made plenty of mistakes at this point. If you caught any mistakes, if you have any recommendations, if you want to see something besides comic books, I do this every day. So who cares if I do a non-comic book stuff one day out of the month, or one day a week. So let's have some fun. Okay, let's. I don't know what else to say. Enjoy. Thanks. Bye bye.